might have also been the start of my dating obsession. So this one game alone encapsulates, because it covers, like, I love the XCOM series where it's that whole like management aspect. I love like Civ and all those simulate those kind of games, and then Stardew and dating sims.
It's just like my shame.
it all adds up now.
Hearing all the stuff you have to do to take care of the monsters in there, I will never complain when I have to go pull lint out of a Pokemon's head or whatever they do now. I hated that, and now I'm like, there's no way. It actually reminds me a lot. There was this, I think it was called a scanners, and it was like this little handheld thing that you went and scanned barcodes, and you could get items and monsters out of it. My brother had it, and it was like the coolest thing. I was like, we should just walk around the grocery store and just scan everything. Power level.
Yeah, I never got that, but yeah, it does have that same kind of vibe, because I remember, looking back on it, I have no idea what my parents' music taste was, or if they just collected music from like friends. But there was one monster that I was always consistently unlock when I hit a certain rank, and it was like a Quincy Jones like jazz album, and it gave me, it's hard to describe without an image, but there's one monster that is literally a wall with a sun mask face on it. But it was very strong because it had a lot of HP. So it was very hard to kill it in a battle to knock it out.
That's what jazz is, a wall with a face. Listen to me.
Yeah, like, I don't know. It was just, as soon as I brought this topic up to Strider, he was like, what's your favorite game? I said Monster Rancher. He's like, yeah, it is. I was like, thanks. Thanks. Because he said that he played it a bit as a kid, but then I brought it back up like in college days to like try and dive back into it.
Yeah, it was, like, my memory of that game is like, I remember playing, no, I remember Saturday morning cartoons, and where when we were playing watching the Saturday morning cartoons, I remember having like the Pokemon, Digimon, and then it was like, and here's Monster Rancher, and it's just like, I fell into a PS1, woo! And I'm like, what is the show?
The show is, yeah, I remember trying to watch the show and I quickly gave up. And I also was very sad because I remember, I think my brother got like a PS3, and I saw that there was a version of Monster Rancher. I think they called it 4 or 5 that came out for PS3. It could have a different name, but they took away all the good stuff. They cartooned it up to the point where I was like, this isn't even, there's no depth anymore. It's just, oh, there is another monster that I think was pretty popular, but it was like a pink jelly bean with a shell on it. So it was like a weird turtle thing. But like that became like the mascot, I think, in the later games. But yeah, so like I remember playing the newer iterations of it, and it was just like they took away all the stuff that I remembered liking about it. And apparently what I like is boring, I think, to a lot of people.
I looked it up. The yellow eyeball thing's name is Suzo. It's Suezo.
Yeah, I think that's the default name when you like get the monsters. You can name them whatever you want when you first obtain them.
Oh, go ahead.
And I was going to say the concept that I really loved from it, it's probably extremely cheesy looking back on it, but when you put a disc into the PlayStation, they had a whole animation that it was like an ancient tablet that you're reading hieroglyphics from. And then it like their special machine brought it to life from this information. It was like a whole like cheesy, like slowly spinning and slowly becoming 3D monster coming out of a tablet.
Oh man, I think I'm just gonna look up the animation for that. Also, what is with like Japan making like what traumatized Japan where anything that is named Joker looks like the Grim Reaper with a clown mask?
Wait, hold on. So there's a Joker monster type in Monster Rancher?
Hold up. I'll put it in the Discord.
Oh, I never got one of these. But yes, I see what you mean.
And then like as it transforms, here, I'll put it in the chats too. As soon as I find it. There it is. And then, like, the more and more it goes, it looks less and like the Joker and more like a Freddy Krueger, not Freddy Krueger, Jason with a scythe and no legs.
It's just slowly floating. So, okay, so this is the creature. It's called a mochi, I believe.
They're delicious.
I do like actual mochi, but as far as this creature, I don't know that it looks very much like mochi.
I found something called blue fur. It's a transparent blue rabbit.
Yes, so they had there's a jelly monster that was super annoying to fight, and it's like this blue blob that's kind of humanoid and has a red beating heart, and like I forget if you could crossbreed or if they were just variations of them where you kind of combined them. So like you had the different rarities of essentially that blue transparent rabbit is like a jelly rabbit.
Yeah, it's only in 1 and 2 apparently, and in 1 it's called a blue fur, in 2 it's called a jelly hair, and the way its description is for Monster Rancher 2 is its body is firmly constructed except its flabby belly.
I love it.
Sounds like some people I know.
But yeah, so if you look at what I sent in the chats, that is a mochi, and that became like a
I remember this thing.
Yeah, it became one of like the main mascot characters.
It's a gumball and a platypus combined.
Yeah, if I remember right, it was actually pretty good at fighting. But no, the jellies were really good at fighting, I remember, because they had like a weird whip ability, which I wouldn't expect Jello to be able to like whip things.
Yeah. Well, there's that one game that I'm totally blanking on, Nightmare Before Christmas, where you get the snot soul, and it's like a little jelly that you whip things with. It's not called the snot soul. It's just what it looked like. I think it's like the rubber soul or something, and it's just like this, like green. It looks like snot.
It's okay. Now I'm just scrolling through of the Monster Rancher Wikipedia, and I'm looking at the various combination of creatures, and it's bringing back so many memories. So, okay, so like there's usually a pixie character in a lot of fantasy games, and usually they're not dressed in much.
Yeah.
There's apparently, I never have seen it before, but apparently there's like a pixie, and you mix it with a dragon, so it looks like the dragon's wearing a bikini. And then there's one where apparently it's like, I think it's a pixie mixed with a golem, so he's like he just looks like he has like furry shoulders. It's just pink but a giant rock golem. Oh,
no shame.
I should emulate this again. I will play this so much. But yes, I think I remember only watching 1 or 2 episodes of the anime and like not really getting very far. Also, another thing to keep in mind is the one-eyed monsters also come in their favorite variations. One of them being the rabbit, like you saw, and then
that one has hair.
The pink one, I believe, is the mix with the pixie, so it needs some lipstick.
Yeah.
The one I think is a shark.
Shark, yeah.
The other one's a bug, and then the other one is the wolf, because the wolf, for some reason in this iteration of the universe, wolves have like 1 horn.
As to in real life when they have like at least 3.
Yes, you can't mix it up like that. But oh man, memory lane.
But yeah, Soft Taco, to answer your question, Monster Rancher is Hop's favorite childhood video game.
2 in specific.
Oh, 2.
One, I don't think I remember as much, but 2, I remember is the one that I played and poured a lot of my time and soul into. Also, one of the articles that I saw looking up images of these gave out a title that said, Monster Rancher was not a Pokemon ripoff, and it hurts my soul to think that people believe that with how much depth this has compared to the old Pokemon games. I loved Pokemon Yellow. Specifically Yellow, because I was the nerd that wanted things to be canon. And that was the only Pokemon game that was canon to the TV show.
I was about to say, like, well, I read the comic, and the games actually line up more with the comic. Like red and blue, and was there ever a green? Like
Green is the next iteration, but I think that was like emerald or
like my favorite thing, like no one can make fun or feel bad about naming their main characters, because it's like, hey, everyone thinks Ash is the cool Pokemon trainer, but guess what? No, it's Red. That's his name, Red. And guess what? Gary? No, his actual name is Blue. Like in the comic.
So are you saying red is the canon one then?
Red is canon.
Because blue gives you the opposite name set.
Yes, I think red is canon. Like to the comic.
And then yellow's canon to the TV show.
But there's also a character, which is, I believe, a girl named Yellow. And her whole storyline is Red's Pikachu. Like, Red gets, like, everyone thinks Red dies, and he's just gone. But then they find Red's Pikachu, which is, like, Ash's Pikachu. And, like, Yellow finds Pikachu and just, like, brings it to Professor Oak, and Oak's like, hey, oh, this belongs to Red. Where the dump is he? And, like, they go through, and, like, Yellow has this ability to, like, speak to Pokemon or something like that. And so they find out that Red went and found like Articuno, I think it is. Is that the ice legendary?
Yeah, that's the ice bird, yeah.
And went to try to capture it. And then like Articuno pretty much was about to wipe him out. And so Pikachu's last memory of Ash is him getting thrown behind as Red steps in front of like the ice blast from Articuno and gets frozen. And so like they're like, well, let's go get a fire Pokemon and go save Red. And then like they go up there.
That's so much better than the anime.
And then they get up there and like they find the actual battle scene. But like and then at the same time they find Green has Bulbasaur and goes and trains with Bulbasaur and all that. They find Blue and they're all like, we gotta go find Red, and they go up to Red where this battle scene is. They just find the frozen like cocoon, but the back is ripped out, and they're like, where the heck is Red?
Plot twist. Yeah, like I do remember loving the anime, but this sounds so